What's going on? Good New Zealand. Welcome to Sweet Chain Live. This is episode 46. Yeah, we've got a great show for you today, if I can sort things out properly. Good evening, Brady. How are you?
Howdy, Matt. Good, man. How's your week been?
It's been all right. It's starting to warm up in the capital. I don't know what it's like elsewhere in the country, but it's starting to get a bit roasty in the afternoons, so which is great. I love it. It means I can sit in the studio without 500 layers on, and it's nice and warm even at this time of the evening.
Yeah, I was gonna say, are you gonna need like air conditioning in the studio soon? Like, how's that gonna work?
I've got a pretty good air conditioner that I walk through on the way in, so I'm going to use that, I think, rather than any kind of machine-operated thing. It's good. Everything is going well, and I like that it's still a little bit light outside as well. Fantastic. Right. Anyway, let's get on with it. We've got a great show for you today. We've got hot scores first up. Then we're going to go around the leagues. And then we're going to talk about the results of the Waihe Tapu, which happened over the weekend just gone. Then we're going to talk to our guest, Mikey Yu, who won Waihe Tapu. Spoiler alert. So yeah. Then we've got a quick discussion on something which came up. Brady, you shared this earlier on in the week about the advantages and disadvantages of throwing a mixed bag versus one manufacturer. So we'll see what our thoughts are there. We've got a few other news items to cover off, an update to the Sweet Chain Power Rankings, and we spin the wheel for Hosker that's occurring this Saturday as well. Right, without further ado, let's get into it then with hot scores starting down south and in Invercargill. It's a stout lockout with Levi and Ethan both hitting 15 under par, so well done to them. Up at Chingford in Dunedin, Quinn hits 8 under par for the hot score of the week, and Cameron Mackey hits 7 under par at Brockville. That's a relatively new course that's gone in there. Across to Queenstown in the Gardens, it's Alex Basford who hits 8 under par, and Gus Van Gisteren hits 5 under up in Tucker Beach. Ryan Cambridge has locked out Wanaka with a 9 under par at Lismore and a 4 under par at Ely Point, so well done to him. And in Christchurch, Gregor Brosnahan hits a red-hot 15 under par at Jelly Park, whilst Mitch Hudson, visiting from Wellington, knocks 5 down at Queen's Park, and Paul Wadsworth takes out the hot score at Brooker Ave. Brady, take us through the north.
Through the North Island, here in the capital, we have at Berhampore, myself, chalked up a 5 down this week. Out into Petone, we have Keith Thurlow. He takes out the hot round at Hikoikoi with a -2. Up at Harcourt Park, putting in the work this week, we have myself, we have Chris Sinai and Stan Morris all coming down at 3 down this week. Despite the good weather, like not so hot scores. Going up to Palmy and Linkletter, we have Brock Fraser and Joel Simpson coming in tied at 4 under par. Sliding out to Inglewood, out to the Naki, we have T-Bone coming in at -3. Man, Champ's been real quiet since Fault Line. Spar Park, let's go Lakeside. Spa Park Red, we have Sean Aston coming in at -1 this week. Nice shooting, Sean. Out to Flaxmere, Wellington's own Scott Woodhouse of Woodhouse Disc Golf and Anthony Rogers coming in at -5. Up to Tauranga, at the Extreme, we have Josh Pratt coming in at +1. And Henderson, thank you, Auckland, for doing the hard yard. You guys are back out and playing. -10. This is not -10 for 9 holes. This is -10 for 18 holes, just in case people were wondering, did 2 people hit aces? We have Vinnie Wilson and Kane Mail, both coming in at -10 this week. So congrats on the hot rounds up in the Big Smoke.
Good stuff. Good stuff. Now, there's a quick update on the leagues. Now, it's the final week of the Berhampore 200 occurred last Sunday. And in the final week, Brady took out a 974 rated 10 under par. Very well done, Brady, on that one. And it means that you've taken out the division ahead of Jung Ha, who comes in 2nd place, Andy Davey in 3rd, and Brett Carlisle in 4th. It was looking very close there for a moment. I think you only won by 1 or 2 places over the course of the whole league. Chris Houston and Howard Story led the way in the advanced division, and Kath Headley took out the FPO division. So well done to them. And in the Spring League at Harcourt Park this week on Wednesday night, we just heard Chris Sinai and Brady Kuech both hit 3 under par. That was 939 rated. And Deb Mills took out the ladies division with an 805 rated 8 over par, which is her personal best. So well done to Deb. Now, we also had at the weekend the Wahitapu take place down south, and we're just going to go through the results of that. So the results are up on your screen now. 6th place was Anthony Rogers, tied for 4th, Roberts Crastins and Matt Pritchard. 3rd place, David Keane. 2nd place, Stephen Reed. And Mikey Yu takes out the title by 5 shots with a 24 under par. So well done to him. In terms of the ladies, if you look very closely, Hayley Flintoft hits 16 plus 16 playing in MA1 and finishes ahead of Amy Whitmore and Echo Lee, who finished top of the ladies division. Worth saying before we bring Mikey in that we ran a giveaway competition last week. So we had no one guessed 24 under. So the closest without going over was 23 under, and that was done by 2 people, Leon Krellin and Stephen Reed, both guessed minus 23. So what we're going to do is a little bit later on this evening, we'll spin the wheel between them 2, and I'll send one of them a prize. I don't know what it is, and I probably won't know what it is until I send it. So that'll be a surprise for everybody involved. Excellent. Right. So let's bring our guest in at this time. He won Wahitapu very recently. He's been on the show before, but not for some time. Good evening, Mikey.
Hey guys. Hi everyone.
How are you doing?
What's up, Matt? How you doing, Mikey?
Doing well. Doing well.
Have you dried out?
Yes, I've dried out. We just had and also a torrential downpour here in Queenstown about probably an hour ago, which I was actually out in, and that was also unideal. but yes, from the weekend, yes, Saturday was very wet, but definitely all dry now.
Good stuff. Because I was speaking to someone from Wellington, Dylan, who went down yesterday, and he was saying that he's never played in wetter weather, and it just rained solidly for like the 8 hours that you guys were playing, and you got like a little bit of respite during lunchtime. Yeah. Was that how you experienced it as well?
Yeah, it was raining the whole way through for sure. I feel that the lunchtime break was good. Because the temperature kind of got really cold towards the end of each of the rounds on the first day. So kind of like everybody's last 3 to 5 holes, everyone was really feeling that it was colder. And of course that's because it was snowing up on the hills. And yeah, it was definitely challenging for sure.
And you shot.
So how do you go out and throw the blinder in those conditions?
A good umbrella is helpful, like a nice big one. I had sort of 4 towels on rotation. I have a dry bag, where a little, I'm not sure where I put it, the little Innova Sports grip bag. So I've got one of those, which I was using as well quite a lot, and patting discs down with that. Yeah, and then I guess trying to make sure that each disc that I threw before I threw it was dry. So I kind of planned the round a little bit as much as I could to not throw the same disc twice, so that I had time to dry it between shots, or off the tee from one tee to the next tee. So I might like alternate what pigs that I would throw from one shot to the next shot, purely so that I was throwing a dry disc and had good consistent grip and kept my hands dry.
That's a next level kind of disc management going on there. It's not only having to think about what you're going to throw, but also like whether it's going to be dry enough, or and you're not going to spend all afternoon drying discs off.
No, you can only sort of dry like whilst you're walking from one shot to the next shot. And if you're lucky and you park it, then you've got time. If you shank your shot, then you might not throw the same disc, so it's okay, but it can definitely be challenging.
So you must have been feeling pretty confident after that
and
first round.
What was it like playing out the front?
Yeah. So I guess like after the first round, I was like, it went well. I had 6 shots from the first round, which was spare, so I did quite well. I was very happy with that. Going into the second round, I was looking to increase that, of course. But everybody being wet, it's not always easy to get back out when it's cold and you've been inside and been a little bit warmer. I took a portable hairdryer for my shoes and a second set of inner soles, and dried my shoes out at lunch in between eating. And what else did I do to try and help? And all my towels, I like blow dried my towels and my jacket and my pants and everything that was wet. I got this portable hairdryer on the go and just went crazy with it and dried everything out. So I came out warm and dry with a full change of gear, and wasn't soaked, which was handy.
I want to know what the sales assistant said when you bought your hairdryer. Like that must have been quite a. It's just been lying around, is it?
But funnily enough, they didn't ask because it was $5 from the Salvation Army, a little fold-up portable one.
Excellent.
Recycling.
But that shows quite some preparation. I'll be honest, I wouldn't have thought of that, honestly, to take a little portable hairdryer with me, but it's locked in now for when I'm looking at the forecast and expecting rain.
For winter competitions, it can be really, really helpful. The first time I did it was, I think, was at North Island Champs, and when we were at the, I've forgotten, in New Plymouth. I've forgotten the name of it. Inglewood. Yeah, that's where it was, and that's such a fun course. And I did it at lunchtime there, while we were eating between the rounds. And everyone was like, "What are you up to?" I'm like, "I'm drying my shoes out." And they're like, "Oh."
Everyone else is sat sopping wet. Yeah. Good stuff. This is your 4th victory on the tour this year.
Oh, okay, cool. I hadn't been counting. That's nice.
So you've got the Peter Croucher, the Queensland Classic, Tucker Beach, and Waihatapu.
Tucker Beach, I didn't win the overall. I won my division.
Okay, yes. Okay. So, we'll take that one off then and say that there's those 3. Which one was your favorite?
It's always cool to win in Queenstown because that's where I am, and that's awesome. I think I was most stoked to probably win the Waihatapu because it's the first time that I've won that, and the others I have won them before. And there was good battles in both the Crowther and Waihatapu where it was very, very close. At different points, it made it a lot more challenging, and you had to pull yourself together and be consistent and solid. But Waihatapu was probably the coolest one so far of those 3 for this season, for sure, and the most fun event as well.
Excellent.
Did you going with this being your last tournament of the season and having won one and wanting to win this for the first time? Is there extra pressure? How do you change your mindset coming into Waihatapu this time round?
I guess there was pressure because I really wanted to win it because I was second last year because I had a good second round and was in the lead and then threw it away in the last round, and could only get back to being second essentially, which was unfortunate. And because of that, I finished tied second and it cost me, I think, the overall win for the national tour, because it was 0.8 or 0.6 of a point of the difference between myself and Jacko. And if I had have gotten outright second, that may have made the difference, which is pretty crazy because of how close it was. And then this year, I guess it was, I really, really wanted to win it. I mean, you guys kind of picked me to win it, so there's a little bit of bonus pressure there. I watch and I'm like, oh, do they pick me to win it or not? Whether they do or don't, I'm still gonna try and play the same. But it's obviously cool to prove you guys right, or sometimes it's cooler to prove you guys wrong if you don't pick me. Yeah, it's I don't know. I definitely really wanted to win it. I'm sad that Jacko couldn't be down there to play. I'm sure he would have done well. I mean, I haven't really played with him in torrential rain to sort of know where he's at. I've watched him throw in crazy winds and a little bit of rain, which we had the previous year, whereas just straight rain is, it's different for a lot of people. You just get wet and cold if you're not got the right equipment.
And so one of the other questions I have, so you talk about throwing away and like having to battle back last year. Like you're in the lead pretty comfortably, but as we kind of mentioned a little bit and talked about pre-show, you started to do a lot of dumb stuff in the last round. Yep. So for like viewers out there who might be struggling and like that kind of stuff, for like people who might not have been under that pressure, what's it like? How do you bring your mindset back to like settle down when the round's almost starting to get out of control as you're kind of competing for the win?
It got very out of control. My rounds, I threw the same shot off the tee of what I threw the previous 2 rounds, but it went straight out of bounds. People will see in the coverage how much of a troubled round it was, and then got trapped. Went to make the putt from the drop zone, didn't make it. Got trapped behind a tree, couldn't make that, and ended. And started with like a double bogey right off the bat. And I did pretty much the same thing last year. Was it in the last round? Maybe it was. No. That was in the final 5 kind of thing, which we'll get to in a bit, I guess. So I then realized, like, come on, man, like you know what your shot is going to be. You've checked what's going on. You need to play the same shot. The next hole comes up. I didn't ruin it or throw it away. I played a reasonable shot. Didn't make my putt, and so I lost another stroke there. The next hole, I got the birdie with a good putt, so I started to be like, right, I'm in focus. I'm making it happen. It's going to be okay. And then the next hole, I'm there ready to tap in for my birdie, and as I'm putting, I'm getting bitten by a sandfly on my putting hand, and I don't make my like 2 or 3 meter putt. It was terrible. And you'll watch it and you'll just be like, oh, and you'll see me like smash the sandfly like after I've like and then I throw in and for the next hole which was like the ace hole, and have a good chance at it and go just past the basket and nearly make the ace, but then I'm outside circle or just on the edge of circle and don't make the putt. So there's a whole lot of like stuff that it just was very, very up and down. The following hole, easy, parked it, birdie. Next hole, hit the tree, had to make a challenging putt, and made it. So I was going sort of a little bit of up and down, but I wasn't losing lots of strokes at that point. A few holes after that, you'll watch where it gets really terrible, and that doesn't matter what I do, everything goes bad. And I get Adam, so the I guess is it assistant TD or co TD?
Assistant, yeah.
Assistant TD. Adam rolls up and says, "Oh, hey guys, did you guys want lunch? I'll bring you lunch down for you," because we started later because it was on tea times on the last day, and it was taking quite a while. The round wasn't the fastest, and of course, you know, we have to wait for other people ahead or for, you know, Flexline to get all the way down to the other end of the tee. So poor Chris is running to get down there, but not fall in a pothole or anything like that. So wait, food arrives. I eat, half a burger, and I'm like, right, this is a good little break time. I can pull it together. And then that's sort of what turned it around for me, was getting some food and having that little moment to just sit down and chill. And then I pulled it back because I'd lost the lead by that point. From being 6 shots ahead and losing the lead, something's really wrong, and you definitely need to focus and sort it out. And so got a stroke back on the next hole, got another one on the next hole, and continued to just get strokes back across the back end of the last bit of the course before we went to that final 5. So went from 1 shot down to, I think, like 4 shots ahead, and just sort of battled my way back. And even then, I was still not putting as good as I wanted. You'll watch another putt that looks like it's maybe a tiny bit high, but it's in the middle, and I go up to the basket and look because it hits dead center and it looks like it goes in, and then it shoots like straight back out. And it's not because it hit the pole. It's because where the weld is on the top of the rim, the chain got locked in a little dip, and the chain didn't slide, so there was no suspension for the disc to hold and fall. It just shot back out with the chain swinging. And there's the crowd there, and they're all like, "Oh," and I'm like, "Yep, that's just the day." And you'll see the rest of the round. There were some amazing shots, not from myself. You can look forward to an amazing shot from Matt, who will be on that final card. That's a really, really good one that I'm sure everyone will enjoy it. It's really cool. I was super stoked for him when he made that one.
So you're saying the secret is lunch?
Lunch. Make sure you eat and hydrate. Eating, because I just got in a real downward spiral, and food sorted it out. So I'm very, very grateful for Adam bringing some food for us. Maybe it was the jalapenos. Who knows?
I think joking aside, there's a serious point here, and that's if you're going to go and play 21 holes in the cold and wet and rain, then it's important that you do the right thing for your body and make sure that you stay, give yourself some energy and give yourself some hydration. I've certainly experienced that in the past. So I think you make a good point, and it's probably it's certainly helped you this weekend.
You will see, though, the final round is essentially the best weather that competition has ever had, and I just, for some reason, couldn't do it. The very last hole of the final 5, though, is a good shot. That nearly made up for everything, but you can wait to see that on the footage.
Very much looking forward to the footage, actually, from Flexline. They've just brought out the tournament before. That's just come out, so we'll look forward to the Wahitapu coming out shortly as well. So no more tournaments for you this year. Unless you the Day in the Dunes, that's right, isn't it?
Yep.
In Invercargill.
Yep. I'm looking to go and play that. And then also I'm thinking about maybe going to play the skins match in Christchurch.
Yeah, that looks like it's going to be interesting. Hey,
Yeah.
That format's a really it's a great different format that we've not seen so much. Certainly not on that scale anyway.
Yeah, and the pressure will be on for everybody. You're only going to, by the looks of it, you're playing 2 rounds. If you're local, you might know where all of those holes are. But if you're not, then, you're kind of playing it a little bit more blind and just hoping that you've got your distances dialed in.
Yeah, certainly on that Jelly Park course, that's exactly what you need to do. It's all about distance control. Good stuff. So when does your season? I guess the season's already kicked off because we've got the split season now. So what's your first tournament in 2022?
If you're talking national tour or just first competition, because I think there might be differences there. I think is Roxburgh before Dunedin?
It is. It's normally pretty early in January. That one, and then you'll be in Dunedin, and then the Smash, presumably.
Yep, and then it's North Island Champs after that, if everything goes well for everybody to travel and stuff.
Yeah, North Island Champs is the weekend before Heislander, I think. So it's a busy January. I think it's Roxburgh, North Island Champs, Heislander, Southern Smash.
Yes.
And then a month later is Nationals. Presumably you're coming to Wellington for that.
Yes. And that goes live, is it tomorrow?
Registration won't be until next week, so we have to give people a week to prep. There will be an announcement coming out tomorrow of there's going to be 3 tiers of registration this year to make sure that everyone gets in time and knows what's going on for those tiers.
Yeah. Good. But yes, I am definitely looking to come and play that one. I assume you're taking over both sides of the course.
Yeah, it'll be very similar to Middle Earth. Like every tournament, I'll be upgrading it ever so slightly with, maybe a little different OB here, maybe a little different T-pad there, but it'll be very similar to what people experienced last year. Hopefully the weather plays the same.
Nice.
It'll be lovely. Good stuff. Now, Mikey, you've been on the show several times before, but not for some time. So you haven't had chance to do Desert Island Disc Golf. So we're going to crack into that now. So the premise is that you're stranded on a desert island. This desert island has a disc golf course, and you've been stranded with 3 discs and 3 card mates who can be alive or dead, real or imaginary, or whoever you like. All right. So what are you throwing? What are your 3 discs?
I guess we start in kind of putter land.
Mm-hmm.
The oldest pig in the bag that I'm sure people have seen thrown lots.
Mm-hmm.
The straight pig, I guess you will call it. It's it's the one that you can rip on it and it will get a bit of turn and act like a normal your normal putting putter. It will kind of do the same job, but it will have that consistent finish. And it's a little nicer for the forehand touch shots and all of the approach type needs. It generally gets the job done. It has done for I don't know how many years it's been now. But, you can probably see it's very flat and sunken.
So have you got another one that's kind of coming along behind it, so to speak, for when that one does get too flippy?
Yep. Let me reach back here. So that one is another one that I've been throwing for a year or so, and that one is not getting that same sort of flip unless I'm really cranking on it forehand or there's some crazy wind. And then after that one, I have a couple of others that will also are getting to that stage of being they're still very overstable, but it's just, you know, when will I start to make them to be more beat in to catch up to, say, the pink one? It's not. I guess I don't have, if I don't lose any, it's okay, and I can sort of continue. So I have lots of pigs hanging out in the wings, ready for when they need be, which is pretty cool. And if I did lose the mustardy one, I'd probably throw my putting putter instead, just because they fly almost the exact same distance, and in the backhand shot they'll get that same bit of turn and then that sort of soft finish, which is pretty cool.
Excellent. Okay, so we've got a pig. What else have we got?
I was finding it really difficult to decide if I wanted something that was very overstable in case it's windy on said island, or not.
You're the first person who considers the conditions. Normally, people come on and just go, "These are my favorite."
I thought about all of the things. I have favorites, but I also have like conditions. You know, you want to play well.
Yeah, you've been stranded with your hair dryer.
4 towels then.
Yeah.
Oh, well, I mean, depends on how many items I'm allowed to bring to the island, but sure. 4 towels, handy. I actually had 5, so I had a super fresh one on the day for the second round to start, but I just used the 4 in the first round.
Okay.
Firebird, glow Firebird. I guess it's I would say that it's probably the Sexton run of whichever year that they chose to do it in. And it flies real good. It does its job for sure. You know what a Firebird's going to do. You don't need to think about it. You throw it and it does its job. Boom.
Fantastic. What else?
As much as I throw lots and lots of Shrikes, I'm going to go with this lovely Destroyer because, I don't know, I think I like it a lot and it flies really good. That's it.
Good a reason as in?
I'm sacrificing distance of this disc for the coolness of this disc. Just because it's a cool color and yeah, I know it flies good. Easy.
Good stuff. Good stuff. And you can take 3 people.
Sounds like it's your third disc and your first card mate.
Yes.
Who have you got?
I've always thought that Ricky was pretty awesome and does a good job, so I'd say Ricky. And then I'd want my card mates to also be fun. And you can see, like, you know, Ricky has a good laugh when he's playing skins matches and he likes to wind people up and things. It's good times. Kelvin is the other one who will definitely do the same. It's all seriousness when it's time to be serious, but when it's time to have fun and you're, you know, stranded or in a tough spot, he's good to have a laugh. And the third one would be Conrad, because he's also really, really funny. Yeah, I mean, I need to get better at backhands as well. I mean, all those guys throw amazing backhands. 2 of them also throw pretty decent forehands. Obviously, Ricky can crush a forehand if he needs to. Yeah, but they're my 3: James, Kelvin, and Rick.
Good stuff. Good stuff. That would be a very competitive card with yourself as well.
It'd be fun.
Good stuff. Right. Okay. So we're going to also now go through our quick fire round. The family-friendly front 9 is first up. And then Brady's going to take us through a safari back 9, which is different for everybody. So first up then, question number 1. What's your name?
Mikey Yu.
Where were you born?
Melbourne, Australia.
Where do you live now?
Queenstown.
What's your PDGA number?
104564.
How many years have you been playing?
I think it's 8 now.
Favorite disc?
Pig. Pig. So many pigs. Look at them all.
Favorite course?
I'm I really liked playing Inglewood. I thought it was really fun.
Mm-hmm. Favorite MPO player?
Rick.
Favorite FPO player?
That one's a funny one. I think I'd like to see Hayley King. Hayley King could do well. I think she's awesome. She can throw well, and she's on the way up.
Definitely. Good stuff. Okay, Brady, take us through the back nine.
Back nine. Let's go. Heiser flip or forced flex?
I'll force flex for that one.
Stepper or jumper?
Jump.
Ace pot or CTP?
Oh, ace pot for sure.
Rain or wind?
Clearly rain. The competitions have shown that. I've played the best rounds in the rain for many. It's ridiculous.
Well, speaking of that, gardens in the wind or Tuckers in the rain?
Damn. I'd probably still go Tuckers in the rain.
Tuckers in the rain? But it's always sunny at Tuckers.
Exactly. That's why. It's contradictory.
Okay. Glow round or sunrise round?
Glow.
1,000 rated or win the tournament?
Win.
Run it or lay up?
I'm always running it. Gets me in trouble, but I'm always generally going for it.
And drum and bass banger or deep house remix?
Oh, drum and bass all day. There's not even a thought.
Sweet. There you go. There you have it. There is your Safari back nine. Thank you so much, Mikey.
Good stuff. Lovely. Mikey, thank you so much for coming on the show today and taking us through the round of Wahitapu. The coverage of which is going to be coming out on Flexline Media very soon. So make sure you head over to YouTube, subscribe to their channel, hit the bell so you get the notification when it comes through. Good stuff. And thank you so much for coming on. Mikey, we'll have you on again, I'm sure. Until then, go well.
Thanks, guys. Cheers. You have a great day. And yeah, see you around.
See you later. Wow, quite the conditions. Quite the conditions down south over the weekend. It looks like Mikey did his prep and did his did all the right things on the day to make sure he put himself into a good position.
Or at least on the first day, anyway.
Yeah. Absolutely. Right. We've got a few things to get through today. But we wanted to have a quick chat now about something that you shared earlier on in the week, Brady. Do you want to kick us off?
Yeah, let's go with so it's kind of interesting. There was a really good article posted on Ulti Discworld for those who follow it or not, discussing, that idea of, is it better to focus on one manufacturer or to throw a mixed bag and, not really care, people who's in it. And they brought up some really good points of, one, there are heaps of discs out there. There are heaps of manufacturers out there. So like as a new player, it could be overwhelming to try to throw everything, to learn everything, compared to, oh, well, if I happen to throw Discraft, it makes it easier if I just kind of focus on Discraft discs. Or if I throw Latitude, it might be easier just to throw Latitude discs. And then kind of as I expand my bag and as I go, well, at Hardcore Park, I'm really struggling with hole 5. Hey, Matt, do you have any Latitude discs that might help me? As compared to now, and which comes in handy later on down the track when you have someone like me who's going for Discmania. Well, it's one of easy to kind of swap from one bag to the other because I kind of know how my discs fly. But then also you have people like Drew Gibson and people like Eric Oakley who are now sponsored players who now can throw whatever they want. And so it kind of, for me, starts to beg the question, is the way of the single manufacturer dying? and is the way of the multi-manufacturer or the retailer in their case, because it's infinite discs, on the rise?
It's an interesting one. We want to know what you do. So in the comments below, put either #1 or #mixed, and let us know what you throw, and we'll do a little bit of a very unscientific poll at the end to see what kind of thing we get. Brady, you've been Discraft for a long time, and then this year have moved across to Discmania gradually. Is that right?
Yep. Yeah. So it was one of those that there were certain molds that I had in my bag that, yeah, you know, like I've trusted for years. So like I have a white Buzz that I only just took out of my bag about a month ago when the new MD3s came out. And, you know, like it was one of those, the old MD3s were more stable, kind of like my Buzz OS or like a Wasp as compared to, you know, like actual Buzz. And so, yeah, you know, like it kind of took me, I've been playing long enough and with Discraft long enough, and there are enough people around the city, unlike pros that I've heard of in the States, that like Paul Macbeth, like hadn't touched a Discraft disc in nearly a decade. You know, he was only exclusively throwing Innova compared to, I'm like, oh, hey, Matt, like, how's that new Trust throw? You know, like, or like, oh, that's a pretty Maverick. Do you mind if I give it a go? So like, I've always kind of dabbled in multiple, but you know, like being so dialed in my game and my shot selection, I needed very certain discs to throw for me. So it's taken me kind of 10 months to acquire those discs, find those discs, or in Discmania's case, have them be produced so that I can actually throw them and add them to my bag.
Yeah.
Because how, like Matt, are you one? Are you mixed? Like, what are you throwing these days?
So I'm one, and so I used to have a mixed bag when I first started. You know, you get your RPM starter pack, which I think a lot of people in New Zealand do, and then back in the day there weren't any retailers in Wellington, so we went on to Infinite Discs and ordered a bunch of stuff with a few mates and got some stuff in. And actually, it was the Infinite Discs has got a little tick box you can do when you order from them, which they'll throw a mystery disc in if you order a certain number. And I ticked that box because I thought, well, who loves a mystery box? I love a mystery box, right? So that came through, and it was a Latitude 64 Mall that came through as my mystery disc, right? And I loved it. It was great. It was such a good disc. So it's a speed 7 glide -3 1, right? And for me, when I just started playing, and I'm an ultimate player with no arm but an air bounce, it was absolutely fantastic to go pretty straight, right? It wasn't really dumpy. Everything else I'd thrown was too dumpy, so it was absolutely brilliant. The other thing I liked about it was the feel of the plastic. So when I had it in my hand compared to the other brands that I threw, and there was a bit of a mix of everything. It was in gold line plastic. It just felt really nice. I don't know if you had that feeling before. When you get a disc in your hand, you go, oh, actually, this just feels good. I'm sure many of you know what I'm talking about. I got that feeling from it, and so I started playing around with a few other Latitude discs, and then made a decision. All right, let's just keep it simple and go full Latitude, and that happened about April of 2020. So for about 18 months now, I've been throwing all Latitude, and I've got it down now so that I throw probably about, on most rounds, I throw about 5 molds. And yeah, so I've just got, but they're all Latitude now.
And so your goal as a player is one company with as few molds as possible?
Yeah, so my bag at the moment pretty much consists of, I carry 4 putters. They're all Keystones in various degrees of wear. I've got 3 Trusts. They're all slightly different stabilities. I've got 2 Anchors, a Musket, and a Grace, and that covers about 95% of my shots. A Saint, a River, arrive, and a sinus will do the rest. But 95% of my shots are those discs, and I kind of I've kind of got into that kind of habit now of like I just like the way they feel in my hand, and then I kind of know what they're gonna do. And I know you could say that about anyone's bag if it was a mix of if it was a mix of brands, but I also like the brand, you know. I like the way they kind of put themselves across, and the way that they hold themselves, and the way they market themselves. I just like that. I mean, you could, and it's difficult to describe why, because, you know, why does anybody like anything? You know, why are people's favorite colors what they are? You know, there's no reason for it. You just like it, and that's what it is for me with Latitude. So yeah, it's all Latitude for me.
And so, Matt, for the viewers out there who might not be familiar with the term, can you please describe dumpy to them?
So really overstable. So
okay.
Something that
is dumpy.
Yeah, so something that comes out of your hand and immediately goes left. So if you've thrown a tilt, that's the dumpiest disc you're likely to throw. Or a stego, actually, is probably, I found, more dumpy. But I mean, there's no reason why I should throw those for anything more than a meme or a lol. It's you know, I'd never ever dream of doing it in any kind of competition.
Can we add dumpy discs to the like categories on Sweet Chain Music? That'd be great.
But yes, they should be dumpy, beefy, meat hook. Yeah, all of those. Yeah, I found that when I first ordered those discs, that a lot of them I found far too stable for me, far too stable. So yes, Brady, you were Discraft for a long time. Why did you stick with Discraft?
It was probably the simpler. So, like, to be fair, I've been playing for 15 years. And so the idea of where when I started to play in Maine, there was a pro shop on every course. And they typically either had Discraft or Innova, and that was it. You know, like dynamic discs had only barely gotten on the scene. I started playing around like 2007. You know, like my first discs were like these Whammos. So choosing Discraft originally was, well, I only really had two options. Most of my friends threw Innova anyway. So I was like, oh, well, I can be different and I'll throw Discraft. And then it's also turned out that over time, they're just, to be honest, like I totally agree with their statement of like, they just make consistent discs. So like, you know, I moved over to New Zealand with 3 discs in my bag. I only brought 3 with me. I brought a nuke, a buzz, and a magnet. You know, like it was the same magnet that I've been competing with for like 6-7 years at that point, you know, and basically the buzz in New Zealand became my go-to. And then I've rebuilt my bag and rebuilt my game based on a buzz shot at basically different levels. And so it's just kind of one of those. And also, I think my first match play was up in Auckland in like 2012, maybe 2013. I went to the tournament with 3 discs. I came back with 1. And so like I lost my nuke. I lost my buzz. The nuke came back, actually. It's still buried somewhere. The buzz went in the river and is gone. But I bought a new buzz and it threw exactly like my old buzz. And I'm like, oh, well, this is convenient, you know, compared to, I know that hasn't been the other case with some RPM molds, with some Innova molds. And so like, the fact that like store-bought brand new throws exactly what I'm expecting it to, I just haven't had to look back. And basically I've always done my homework. Discraft has been really good back in the day where they would have pros give reviews of discs. And so I would always do my research on, oh, I need this shot. I need a fairway. I need a mid or a throwing putter or like a distance driver that does this. And they'd be like, a pro would be like, I throw this that does that. So it's like, sweet. I'd buy that disc. Because it's Discraft, it did that thing. And so it's like, Bob's your uncle, and away I went. And so, it just made it simpler for me.
I think consistency is a big thing. I really do. Because discs aren't things that you generally tend to buy and then have for the rest of your life, right? You're going to recycle them. You're going to want to replace them if they change their flight characteristics, etc. But so being able to get years down the line a disc that's going to do the same as the one that is in your bag, I think is really, really important. And that's something for me that I've found with Latitude is pretty consistent within their runs. They're pretty consistent. Like I lost a Grace in the trees just before fault line. Sorry, so I put another one in my bag that was brand new, and it threw pretty much exactly the same. Which I was really glad for, really glad for. So yeah, I think the consistency thing is a lot. I think Discraft do a great job of it, and there are others that do less of a good job of it in my view. But yeah. It's there. One of the points that was made on that article was that it was easier for beginners to get into the sport because instead of having to go, look, each manufacturer's got, I don't know, in Innova's case, hundreds of molds. You know, you've got if you can focus on one manufacturer and you're going, right, I need something for this spot, then you can go and you can just go, right, I need this disc. Rather than going, well, do I buy a Zone or a Rock Free or a Kia or whatever, right? Yeah. So how do you make the decision? So that I think has got benefit to it as well. Yeah. So yeah,
the only issue we're running into now is just accessibility. So like we can find the information now is a lot easier to find than it used to be about, you know, like, oh, I throw Innova, I want to throw a Fairway, you know, like a Leopard 3, you know, and then you go to the store and you're like, oh, I want a Leopard 3, but it's like, you know, they have Destroyers and Shrikes and Firebirds, and it's like, well, they don't have what I'm looking for. And so, you know, like, thankfully enough, people like yourself, people like Dish Shop and Ed's at DSS and Small Planet, like retailers are getting a lot better now about carrying more. But I know, especially in New Zealand, when I first moved over, you know, like 10 years ago, the access to discs was a lot different. And so now we have access to information, so we know what we want to buy, and we finally have retailers selling that plastic. So it's actually, it's really good to see. And so like from me to you, like, thank you for coming in and, you know, like supplying, you know, New Zealand with much needed plastic goods, as it were.
So yeah, so I think it's an interesting one. There's a lot of people out there who I've read comments online about, well, if you're not sponsored by them, then just go for a mixed bag. Does it matter? I mean, ultimately, I mean, it doesn't really matter, does it? I mean, lots of people will go with different molds and different ones. For people will go with ones because they like a player that throws that particular brand of plastic, which is interesting, given that players move around quite a bit. But yeah, no, interesting. Okay, moving on. There was an announcement that came out via email. I think it was yesterday from NZDG, which announced that vaccine passports will be mandatory at tour events from tomorrow. So if you want to play in a tour event, get your vaccine passport is what they're saying. So make sure you check your email for further details on that. Next up, Brady, some good news about Berhampore.
Yes. So I can confirm that the Greater Wellington Disc Golf Club has been awarded pub charity funding. So we've officially been granted over $13,000 to help upgrade the course. You know, like, so T-pads, T-signs, and a course map will all be coming hopefully by Christmas.
Brilliant. That's going to be a working group then, presumably, to get all that installed, or does that include the installation as well?
That includes installation as well. I went full on professional for this one. You know, like we're getting turf T-pads, not concrete or not pavers. Yeah. Splashed out, you know.
Excellent. Because I can remember I helped install those baskets, and so that was good fun. It was a good fun day. But some of them were, well, you know, the basket placements. Some of them were very, very, very precariously placed, and not so hard, not so easy ground to dig holes in either. Anyway, good stuff. Yeah. So if you're not if you're going to be around Wellington, then keep an eye on the Greater Wellington Disc Golf page, because they'll have all the information about when the new T-pads and signs will be in for your use. Next up, we've got we've got the Flexline Media have released the Bros for Chains charity classic coverage. Brady, have you watched it yet?
I've watched the first 14 holes.
The first 4 of the feature card.
Yeah, feature card. So yeah, I'm still getting through it. It's had a busy week planning for nationals and getting this stuff.
Okay.
How about you? How have you made it through any?
Yeah, I've watched all of them. So I will tell you that it gets really good towards the end. Towards the end of the league card, gets very, very good. So stick with it because it's really, really good. That back 7 is fantastic. So and always good to see the coverage. Looking forward to the Wahitapu one coming out very soon. So head over to Flexline Media's page, and they'll and they've got all the course, all the cards on there, free separate shows for each of the cards.
Yep.
Okay. Right. Finally, we're going to be picking out the themed round at Hosker this weekend.
Do we need to pick a winner first, or are we doing Hosker first?
We'll do Hosker first, then we'll go across and pick a winner between Leon and Stephen. So first up, people had the choice of either the free choices were a bag tag scramble, mulligans, or back 9. Now nobody voted for the back 9. 6 people voted for bag tag scramble, which is basically everybody's bag tag goes into a pot, and the person who shoots best out of all of the cards takes home the lowest number. So you can really improve and not have to luck of the draw that someone's going to be number 1s on your card. Alternatively, it could keep the person who's got number 1 away from the tournament this weekend. Brady, you've got like number 3 or something, haven't you? Number 2?
Yeah, I'm sitting on 3 at the moment. Mitch, I think, is sitting on 1. Andy might have 2.
Excellent. So we shall know who's got the balls to show up on Saturday to put their bag tag on the line. I should be there with my number 26 up for grabs. So we shall see. Anyway, the other choice is mulligans. So if mulligans comes up, we'll spin the wheel again. And for the number of mulligans that everyone's going to get for the themed round. So we could see some really, really low scores from lots of people if mulligans comes up and we get a good number of them. But without further ado, let's have a go, see what's going to come up. And there we go. It's bag tag scramble. So everybody's bag tag will be up for grabs on Saturday. So come along Saturday, 9:30, at Petone, and bring your bag tag, especially if you've got a low number. Right. Next up, we're going to go to, and whilst I'm getting the draw spin wheel up, if you want to cheer for the person who you want to win in the comments, then you can do. Well done.
Yep, so who do we got? We got a Leon and a Steven.
Well done to both Leon and Steven for guessing -23. In fact, one moment. Let's just make this a little bit more interesting, so it's not so obvious when it. There we go. And who's going to win?
And away we go!
Congratulations, Leon. Well done, Leon. I shall be sending you something in the post. You won't know what it is until you get it, and I'll only know when I send it. So, yeah, we look forward to that. Right.
Please don't lose it in the mail, Matt.
Sorry?
It's Christmas. Be nice.
Yeah, no, it will arrive before Christmas, I promise. So I think that's it for us for this week. Brady,
well, power rankings.
Of course it is. My apologies. Let's
data analytics team have been slaving away hard all week, and you're just going to throw them under the bus?
I can't believe they'll be ashamed. They'll be ashamed. I'll have to.
You're going to be hearing from them, I'm sure.
I'll have to make sure that I pay for their Christmas party drinks. Right, here we go. So the power rankings have come out. And there's a small change in the ladies division. Amy Whitmore moves up 1 spot to 11th. And in the MPO division, Mikey Yu 4 spaces up to 6th. Stephen Reed up 12 spaces to 13th. And a little bit of movement elsewhere as well. So congratulations to anybody who's moved there. When we do a show a little bit later on, we've got the Day in the Dunes, which is still to come, which will affect the rankings. But on the last show of the year, we'll go down a bit further than 20th, so that you can look out for your name or the names of people that you know, and we'll be going all the way down to however far we can go down. And we'll be doing some funky motion charts and everything. So the data team have got a busy couple of weeks ahead of them. Just to let you know of our broadcast schedule over the next few weeks, we're obviously going to be coming next Thursday and the 16th. The final show of the year will be on the 23rd of December. We are then going to have a week off and be returning on the 6th of January, which will be episode 50. Which will be very, very interesting and a good bit of fun. So look out for that. Otherwise, have a lovely week. Play some disc golf. Get some birdies. Take it easy. Thank you very much.
Peace.